Hello and welcome to the Gaming Rules video log for the month of March 2018. Now, this video is being recorded at the start of April and it's going to cover pretty much as I can about what I did in March, although March was a bit of a blur. I hope I remember everything, so let's see how we get on. Now, the first thing to talk about is the Patreon campaign. It was a pretty good month for the Patreon campaign, possibly due to the fact that I'm giving away a copy of Founders of Gloomhaven. Yeah, it's been a relatively good month. So I just wanted to give a shout out to all of the new supporters. Now, executive producers, we have 8 new executive producers, 3 of which are actually existing producers that have upgraded their pledge. So thank you very much to Richard Neat, Kevin Duffy and Mohammed Al-Atike. I hope I pronounced your name correctly last time and this time as well. So thank you very much for upgrading your pledge. The new executive producers, we have Paul Toderas, Samuel Carbonero, Curtis Cushman, Ryan Burr and Tommy Waring. So thank you very much to all of you for your support. Producer level, we have one person who's upgraded their pledge to producer level, which is Paul Mazzoni, who you may remember has done a guest review for me at some point in the past, and I'm hoping you get a chance to do another one sometime soon, Paul. Other producers, we have Christopher Lloyd, Susie and Debs, who I met at Aircon, thank you very much, Tom Eatwell, Dan H, not sure of the surname, John Hedges, Rich Hickley, Dennis Luck, Dave Prosser, Brian Ashmore, Matt Brown, Matthew Bynoff, Tom Wakefield, Matt Sewell, Mark Walker and Russell Cox. So they are all of my new producers. Your name should be appearing in the credits from this point forward, basically. I've also had some extra people supporting me who are not at producer or executive producer level, which is Mark Piquet, Jason Speicher, sorry, I've mispronounced it probably, Nafmi Sinishar, thank you very much Nafmi, Josh Taub, Tracy Toutman, Tremor 1776, I assume that's not your real name, Cone Hendricks, Vitali and Jerome Dryhouse. I'm not sure if I've pronounced your name correctly, Jerome. Jerome said he basically just back to me to hear me pronounce his name. So if I got it wrong, let me know. I can try again next month. So yes, thank you very much to all of my Patreon supporters. And at this point, we'll do the prize draw. So one person who basically, as of the 1st of April, because Patreon takes its money on the 1st of April, one person who started supporting me before the 1st of April, so including everybody who's just started supporting me, got entered into a prize draw. I'm going to go to the computer now to do the prize draw to see who wins the games. So over to the screen. Okay, so here we are at the spreadsheet of ultimate power. So every executive producer, and you can see here that there are 29 of them, they get entered 3 times into the contest, and then all of the normal producers get added in there. So we have, how many do we have? We have 164 in total. So let's go up here and let's put in the formula, rand between 1 and 164, and we have 98. 98, scroll down, is Dave Bennett. And I just wanted to say a thank you here to the people who donated the prizes for this month. So that's Isaac Childress from Cephalofair Games. You may have heard of a game called Gloomhaven. So thanks to Isaac, who donated the copy of Founders of Gloomhaven and the Santa's Game card game, which is a very different game from the Founders of Gloomhaven. That was donated by Martin Collar, who contacted me through email, and he likes my videos and he wanted to basically donate a copy of his game. So I think it's a fun family game. So thank you very much to Martin for that. And we're back. So congratulations to Dave Bennett. I'll get in contact with you, Dave, and I'll be sorting out the prizes to get to you soon. Now, prize draw for this month is very, very special indeed. So the first thing is it's a copy of the new version of Colosseum from Tasty Minstrel Games. This is a copy which is opened. This is the copy that I got given for working on the video. So why am I getting rid of it? Well, I'm getting rid of it because Dave Banks, a friend of mine in America and who was also a Patreon supporter, was having a bit of a clear out and he gave me a copy of the original Colosseum. So I have 2 copies of the game. I have the original one and the new one as well. So I'm going to pass this on. Now I'm kind of hoping somebody in the UK wins this. because it's very heavy. This is the version that was on Kickstarter. It's got all the metal coins. It's got all of the stuff in there. So one lucky winner will be winning this. So again, if you support me, as long as you support me this month or have supported me before, then you'll get entered into the prize draw. But that's not all. Last year, me and Vicky went to a summer fair in Columpton, and we entered the prize raffle, and there were lots of prizes for this prize raffle, and one of the prizes was a signed photograph of Pippa Greenwood. We're not sure what to do with it. We feel that we're not worthy enough to have this prize, so I'm going to include this picture in with the prize. So you're not just winning a copy of Colosseum, but you're winning a signed photo of Pippa Greenwood. Now, if you don't know who she is, we didn't either. But anyway, that's what it is for this month. So good luck with everybody who enters. Now, on with what I've been up to this month. Now, I'm going to cover things, I think, in order. Sort of an order. Start of March, what did I do? Right, well, I went to a games night at the start of March and I played Battle Sheep, which I think I've mentioned before, but if not, it's a great game. It's like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's very simple, but it's one of those games that's actually a really good game. Navegador from Mike Gertz. I don't know whether this or Concordia is probably my favourite Mike Gertz game, but I do love Navegador. I picked up a copy at Essen last year, and I've played it a few times since. That's really good. And then there were 4 of us, so we played Alien Frontiers. Now, I've not played Alien Frontiers in ages, and I do quite like it. I know it has the problem of you can't really plan much on your turn, and you have to just roll the dice and then decide. But you can have a rough idea. And I really like Alien Frontiers, so I played that. I think that was a good night for me. I think I played Battle Sheep twice. I won both of those games. I won Navegador, and I won Alien Frontiers as well. It was just one of those nights where everything fell right. Then, on the Wednesday, 7th of March, I have, thankfully because of lists, Flamme Rouge and Word Slam. So I've said before that I love Flamme Rouge. I introduced it to a group of new people, so we played the basic game without any of the hills, and then we played a few rounds of Word Slam after just to finish the night off. That Friday I went to Aircon. So Aircon is a convention that has been running for a few years now. It's up in the north of England. It's about 5 hours drive from me. Thankfully, Steve Manser, who's a friend of mine, he lives down here and he's a patron supporter. He was going there anyway, so he drove. And that was a working convention for me, like most of them are. And I was working for CGE, demoing lots and lots of new games. So I didn't get to play many games myself over that weekend. The only 2 games I did play were Spirit Island and Lunar Architects. I talk about those a bit more in one of my podcasts. So if you're interested in hearing what I thought about those games, well, I've done a review of Spirit Island, so you might already know what I think about that. But yeah, so that was Aircon. I plan to go back next year. I think Aircon is a very good convention. A lot of conventions in the UK are just a few hundred people in a room playing games, and there's nothing wrong with them, and I love them. And then you have UK Games Expo, which is 17,000 people, and it's a proper exhibition. Aircon sits somewhere in the middle. I don't know what the numbers were. I think it was 1,500, maybe 2,000, something like that. But there are exhibitors, there's a demo area, there's a whole host of stuff going on, you know, seminars and things like that, and a big open gaming area as well. So there's lots to do at Aircon. If you want to consider checking that out, that runs it's at the start of March every year. So yeah, that's Aircon. Right, after Aircon, I did a game development weekend. So this is where a load of people came round Gaming Rules headquarters, aka my house, and we basically spent 2 days playing and developing games. So we played lots of games that weekend. These games were in a varying state of development, from an early alpha prototype that needed lots of comments and feedback, right through to this is a finished game. We're just going to test the rulebook to make sure the rulebook's clear. So I did play a lot of games that weekend, but I'm not going to go into too much detail about a lot of them because, as I say, a lot of them are in development. One of the ones that I did play, and this is a game which is finished and we were just testing the rulebook, is Keyflow, which is Keyflower, the card game. It's a new game from Richard Breeze, but Ian Vincent has helped with the game design, and I think a couple of other people have as well. And Really, really enjoyed that. And I'm not just saying that because Richard was here and he's a friend, but my problem with Keyflower, which I think is a fantastic game, is when you have 5 or 6 people, you've got to look at what buildings are on the other side of the board, and then you've got to remember what they are, and because you can use them. And there's so many options, and some of them are not literally right in front of you, that it can be a bit of a problem. But the big bidding mechanism is fantastic, and I do love the way that Keyflower plays. Keyflow does manage to capture most of the elements of Keyflower. It doesn't have the bidding, but it uses the 7 Wonders style draft mechanic. So you all play simultaneously, and you can only interact with the players to your left and right. I think the game's coming out this year, so there should be more information on that on Board Game Geek. But yeah, that's one of the games that I finished playing. One of the games that I played which was finished. Another game that I played that weekend was Cerebria from Mindclash, the next big box game from Mindclash. We were testing the rulebook for the game. However, we came across a number of things that we felt we needed to feed back to the design team and the developing team for that game. Nothing specifically wrong with the rules as we played them, just that we felt the game was quite complex, that it could have done with a beginner set of rules. They took that on board, and they are working on a beginner set of rules for that game. I don't really want to comment too much on it because they are now a client and I'm helping them with the rule book. But as far as the theme of the game goes, it's absolutely, it's something new. You know, people say with all of the games that are coming out all of the time is, what does this game give me that's something new? And I have to say, this game is, it's a 4-player, it's a team game, 2 versus 2. 2 people play the good emotions, 2 people play the bad emotions, and you're inside somebody's mind and you're basically shaping their personality. That is amazing. That is something we haven't had before. It's a fairly unique concept. And the game itself plays, once you know how to play the game, it plays pretty quick. It's very tactical. There's a lot of rules in there, and my job is to, well, I'm helping them with the rulebook, but I'm also helping them try and make the game more accessible for people who are just starting out with it, because it is a bit of an overhead jumping straight into the full game. So that was Cerebria. I played a few other games that weekend as well, but as I say, I'm not going to go into too much detail. One thing that I did do over the course of March, and I'll mention this now, is I've been dabbling around with City of Kings. Now, I was very, very excited to get City of Kings, and I've got to know Frank, the designer, a little bit, and he was very keen because he knows I'm a massive fan of Gloomhaven, so he basically got me a copy of the game to see what I thought about it. I'm still not sure what I think about it. I really want to play more because there's something in there that I really want to keep going back to. And the other thing as well with it is I've only played, so in March I played the same scenario 3 times. And the reason is there's a lot of City of Kings which kind of feels like a puzzle. The combat, for example, is, unless you buy points in the luck skill, right, is purely deterministic. If your character does 3 damage, it does 3 damage. If the monster has 5 health, you do it 3 damage. If you attack it twice, it's dead. That's how the combat works. It's even more deterministic than something like Mage Knight, where it is deterministic because the numbers are fixed, but you have a hand of cards. In this, you have actions. You choose exactly what you want to do. And if you want to attack the monster twice, with your actions, you choose to attack it twice. So basically, defeating the monsters is kind of like a puzzle. And tactical placement on the map so that you can attack the monsters but they can't attack you, that's all part of the tactical puzzle. And the first time we played it, we died horribly. The second time we played it, we died not so horribly. And the third time I played it, we succeeded. And that scenario, which was desecrated, I probably won't play that scenario again because, well, I will when I'm teaching it to new people, because I've kind of worked out that puzzle now. And I feel that if I played that scenario again, I would probably win again. Now, I don't know, because there are some random elements in the games other than combat, which do have a bearing on how well you do. But I've only scratched the surface. There's lots of different scenarios and they all teach you a different part of the game. And then there's the stories, which are 7 chapters long. So I feel I have literally only just scratched the surface on it. I want to learn to walk before I run. So I'm keen to go back and learn more about how the game works so that I can start enjoying the full experience of it. Anyway, so that's City of Kings. What else have I played? So yeah, I went to the Czech Gaming. Czech Gaming is an event in the Czech Republic, believe it or not. It's a private event put on by CGE every year in March, where we go and play the heck out of prototypes of games which are possible games that CGE might do at some point in the future, games that CGE are definitely doing in the future, and other things as well. So I was playtesting the Adrenaline expansion, the new version of Pictomania, a game which the current working title is Crime Lab. For those people watching this video who have played a game which was called Sherlocked, it's now called Crime Lab. I also played a game called Deal with the Devil, Letter Jam, all of these other games that might come out, they might not. While I was there, I also played my first game of Pulsar 2849, which I have taught about 200 people how to play, and I've demoed it about 50 times, and I've never actually played the finished game myself. So me and Justin from CGE sat down, we played a 2-player game, and I'm really happy that I've finally played the game, because it is a game I do actually enjoy, even though I don't get to play it much. And then finally, last weekend, we had friends over and we played some fun games. So we played Clask, Word Slam, Crime Lab and Letter Jam again. So just sort of like fun games that weekend. So anyway, that is the games that I've been playing in March, a little bit about what I thought about them. Moving on to the videos. So videos that I did in March. So I did 2 reviews as promised. And thank you to my Patreon backers for choosing the videos. I did a review of Noria, and I did a review of Transatlantic. Now, both of those were done in the last week of March. I just about managed to get them in time. So if you want to see them, head on over to the YouTube channel, or I'll put links in the show notes if I remember, to see what I thought about them. The Transatlantic one, I thought it might be a bit controversial. It turns out almost everybody has agreed with what I said on it. Whether I was right to say those things or not, people have basically backed me up, so I feel more comfortable in saying what I said, and I stand by what I said in that video. I also did another live Q&A, so that went like the other ones. I was absolutely astounded by the amount of questions that I got beforehand. I'm always worried with these live Q&As that nobody's going to join in and nobody's going to ask me any questions. So I always put a sort of notice on my guild, Board Game Geek Guild, and on Facebook and everything else, and said, look, if you've got any questions but you can't make the show, then send them through and I'll get them answered. And then I get hundreds of questions, which I'm not complaining about. It's great. I do love the questions, but those Q&As are absolutely exhausting. And I tried to keep it to an hour and failed. But yeah, so that was that. Rules videos, well, I've been busy doing all the other stuff, so I haven't managed to get out that many. But the one I did get out is Chronicles of Crime. So if you want to learn how to play Chronicles of Crime, it is now finished on Kickstarter. I think there's a pledge manager, probably. They always do that. So if you're interested in backing the game, you probably still can. But Chronicles of Crime was a rules video that I did on how to play the game, and it was one of my most challenging videos that I did, not because the game is really complex, far from it. The game's actually relatively simple. So I thought, well, why do they want a video made for this? But they like the videos I make, and it actually makes sense that I did a video of this game because it's the sort of spiritual successor to Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective that I've been a fan of since 1983. And I worked on the new edition with Space Cowboys, and this is basically Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, but plays a lot quicker. It's interactive, but it's a lot easier. It's suitable for families, and the cases are a lot easier. They're nowhere near as complicated. So Chronicles of Crime, if you're interested in that, then check out that video. I also only managed to do one podcast in March, and I'm not quite sure how. I think because I think podcast 59 was at the very, very end of February, which is why I feel that I've done 2 in March, but I haven't. I've only done 1. So apologies for that. Podcast 60 went out on the 19th of March, where me, Tom and Matt answer the question of what is a Euro game, which, for those people who haven't listened to that episode yet, was inspired by the fact that I was being trolled on various places on the internet by a certain individual. Wasn't a particularly good story. It's never really happened to me, and I'm sure other people have it all the time. but I didn't appreciate it. I didn't like it. It didn't make me feel good, as trolls do. And a lot of people said, oh, ignore them, they're just a troll. But when they start calling me a liar, that's when I take that personally. So anyway, that person got blocked from the forums and it all got sorted out. And it inspired me to go and record a podcast about what is a Euro game. Basically, if you don't want to listen to the podcast, if it's got the name of the designer on the box, it's a Euro game, and that's it. Nothing else matters. Anyway, joking. Okay, so next up is the boring bit. What work stuff has Gaming Rules been working on this month? Last month. Mage Knight, the new big box version of Mage Knight from WizKids. All of the rulebook work is done, consolidating everything into one rulebook. The new 5 cards are done and everything else, so that's done. Back with WizKids now, that will go into production and that game will be out later this year. It's quite exciting, really, giving Mage Knight another lease for life, because Mage Knight is, fact, the best game ever designed. A couple of rulebooks for Alicat Games, Pocket Sub and Dice Hospital. They're pretty much done now. The Dice Settlers rulebook is interesting. So Dice Settlers is one of the games which we were testing the rulebook of at my game development weekend. And a few people sat down and they were able to play it okay from the rulebook. They had a couple of queries, but generally it was okay. Then I got my teeth into it and I've pretty much rewritten the rulebook almost from scratch, including restructuring, changing phases, doing all sorts of things, because I just can't help myself sometimes. The designer and the publisher of the game are very happy with what I'm doing, so it's not like I'm going in and changing things just because I feel like it. They're very happy with it, and I think it's better for it. And I will be testing that rulebook at Bacon tomorrow, and in the next few days, so we'll see how good it is. I did a little bit of work for Board and Dice on Page Quest, and a little bit more on Agent Decker, Blight Chronicles. There's another game called Microbrew from One Free Elephant. Now, this game's not out yet, but they wanted me to basically test the rulebook for it. Microbrew is a tiny little game. It comes in a little tin, and I didn't play it personally, but I did sit with other people as they were playing the game. And the rulebook is in the state of being written, so there were some issues with it, which we've worked out. As I say, the game's not out yet, so don't think, oh, if you buy the game, the rulebook will be bad. No, we were basically helping write the rulebook for when the game does come out. But the game itself, I didn't play it myself, but the people who played it said it was really good. So keep an eye out for that. Microbrew from One Free Elephant. It's a game about brewing, but it's, a lot of game for a small box. Another couple of games that we got tested, Planet Fulcrum and Plunderous. Plunderous I'm going to be carrying on, doing some testing of. That's like it's a big epic game of pirates and stuff like this, and lots of player interaction. And there's lots going on. And the designer of the game wants me to basically do 4 playtest sessions of it with different groups. I've done 2 already, and I've got another 2 coming up in the next month. So that's the work that I've been doing for March. For April, it's mainly rulebook work. I don't think I've got any rules videos planned for April, apart from writing some scripts for ones that I'm going to be doing in May. But rulebook work, I've got some of the ones that I've been working on already. Escape Plan, Vital Lacerda's new big box game. I have the rulebook for that, which I'm going to be working on right after Bacon. I have Noggin the Nog, which is another game that I'm going to be working on the rulebook for. So I've got those 2 booked in for straight after Bacon. And then I've got a few others planned as well for the rest of the month, as well as obviously all my Patreon content. So I need to get the poll up so that you Patreon supporters can vote on what games they want me to review, plan the next Q&A, plan the next podcast, and do all of that. But for now, I need to go and get back to preparing prototypes, because Bacon starts tomorrow. I'm going to be heading down there at lunchtime. Bacon is a convention which is 15 minutes drive away from me. It's in Exeter, but it's not actually in Exeter. It's just outside of Exeter, and so that's better for me because it's literally straight down the motorway for 2 junctions and then I'm there. So it's one of my favourite ones. I know a lot of the people that go there. It's very friendly, and it's 15 minutes away from home. So that's tomorrow. That's about it. That's everything that I've been doing for March. As I say, I've had, I think, half a day off for the whole of March, which is way too much. I need to be doing a lot less somehow, which means stopping saying yes to when work comes in. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch up with you next month. Until next time, take care, and thanks for watching.